All right, so just literally an hour and a half ago, a new NBC poll just dropped showing Kamala Harris in the lead, 49 to 44%. So we're going to go ahead and delve into this poll a little bit. There aren't any crosstabs, so we can't really do like a lot of confirmation as to whether the data looks like legit or not. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue that we have in this one. But still, let's go ahead and look at the methodology, how it was done, go through the top lines that they have, and just see what we can go ahead and glean from this. So, as I mentioned, we have this poll 49 to 44 from NBC News, and this was conducted by Hart Research and Public Opinion Research. So, the interview was done on the 13th through the 17th with 1,000 registered voters, and we'll get to that in a second. 87% of them were from cell phones, so it didn't say what the other 13% were from. I assume it was landlines due to the fact that these were all done with live interviews, and it has a margin of error of 3.1%. So this is of registered voters, and as I've mentioned in my other videos, I said that likely voters are more likely to trend toward Kamala Harris more. So once you go from registered voters to likely voters, that gap for Kamala Harris opens up a little bit. So even though this poll is technically within the margin of error, if we look at the high and the low numbers, the best case scenario for Donald Trump in this one would be 47 to 46, Donald Trump leading by one. If we look at likely voters, which they don't have in this one, she actually could be outside of the margin of error, but that also can bring the margin of error up a tad bit. But we don't know. But anyways, just remember, these are all of registered voters. All right, so let's go ahead and look at how the debate impacted things, because there seems to be a debate amongst the debate as to whether it mattered or not. If you looked at those Emerson College polls that I showed at the statewide level a few days ago, you could see the debate really didn't have an impact on making the states move a little bit. But in this poll, which is a nationwide poll, it does seem to show that. So the numbers, according to this, says that Kamala Harris, they asked the question, did the debate make you more likely to support a candidate? So 29% of people who responded to this said Kamala Harris. It made them move more in her direction. Only 12% Donald Trump, and then 57% said there was no difference. And that is all right. But now, just to caution, we've seen these types of numbers and other things. As a matter of fact, the same poll when they asked about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump after their debate, I think it was their first debate, maybe it was their last debate, Hillary Clinton had 31% in this poll. Okay, so, but in this situation, we are starting to see the numbers move a little bit. Now, they did ask a few more top line questions, and let's go ahead and go through those, because it really tells us about the electorate and kind of, if you're running a campaign or doing elections or whatever, what you really should be focusing on, and something that political scientists have been saying for years. So let's go ahead and look more into the other top lines. So when they ask who is more honest, Kamala Harris is up 49 to 34, with 17% up. For some reason, cannot come up with an answer on this one. So again, very good numbers for Kamala Harris. When we go to who has the right temperament, this is where the debate might have actually played a role, right? Because you can see Kamala Harris is up 52 to 36, if anything. And to me, yes, Kamala Harris baited him, made him look bad or whatever. The one thing that Kamala Harris really did well in that last debate was look cool as a cucumber. She, and the way her demeanor and the way she comported herself was spectacular, where he just looked like a loose cannon. And I think we're starting to see those in this. Whereas when we looked at Joe Biden and Trump, like two old guys talking about their golf score, I mean, you're just sitting there going, what the hell is this? Kamala Harris nailed the debate. We're all saying that. And this is the fruits of the labor right here, which is 52% when it comes to temperament. Let's go to the next top line. So if we look at getting the country in the right direction, we see Kamala Harris is up 47 to 43 with 10% unknown. And then if we go to who represents change, Kamala Harris is up 47 to 38 with 15% not having an answer. Now, that last one's really big, because up till now, even though people saw Kamala Harris is different and new and not Joe Biden, it was always Donald Trump who talked about, who always won this change dynamic. Now, what does change mean? A lot of people might say, yes, Donald Trump would change it for the worse. He'll make this a dictatorship. and he'll make sure that all of his buddies are pardoned and everything, and they'll throw the liberals in jail, right? So that could represent change as well. But the fact that this poll, if you look at some of the other top line data they have, this is one of the most optimistic electoral polls that we've had when they ask about optimism and stuff like that. This is one of the most optimistic. This gives me the feeling that that 47% is now moving toward the idea of optimism. Now, the next few that I want to show you has more to do with the roles of issues in a campaign. Now, if you go to a political science convention like an APSA one or Midwest, the Chicago at Palmer House or whatever, or if you talk to a lot of political science behaviorists and others, there's this kind of joke that issues matter because for a lot of behaviorists, identification or who you're going to vote for is really based off of what your identification is, what party you identify with, what maybe ideology you identify with, who your family members were, and so on and so forth. Now, I know you might be a Republican, your brother might be Democrat or whatever, but these trends do seem to go along. And it's just kind of the idea is that what you are ideologically or partisan wise, your views will be shaped based on that initial ideology instead of necessarily your issues, then determining what political party you are in. So let's look at the next few crosstabs because this really brings an important point home. Now, when looking at dealing with the economy, we see Donald Trump is actually up 50 to 41% with 9% not having an answer. And then when we go with dealing with inflation and the cost of living, we see Donald Trump up 48% to 40 over Kamala Harris, with 12% not having any answer. So we go ahead and look at this. We see that the issues that are most important to Americans, the economy, cost of living, Donald Trump actually has better ratings on those. But Kamala Harris poll numbers are going up. Okay. This shows that it's not issues that drive the campaign. It's a feeling for the candidate. It's that you can relate to them. The whole, do you want to have a beer with them question is important, is relevant when we're talking about campaigns. And as much as we might want to think that issues themselves matter, no, it has more to do with, do you feel comfortable with the candidate? Do you think they're going to lead you in the right direction? Do you think they're going to do the right thing? Do you think they're honest? Do you think they have the temperament? Do you think they have all this? Those candidates are going to usually be the ones that win. Now, if you go look at Hillary Clinton back in 2016, yes, she might have had done a little bit better on temperament and stuff like that. But when it came to honesty and stuff like in these types of issues, a lot of times Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton would be even. Okay, so there really wasn't a lot regarding the difference between those. But when we look at honesty, integrity, temperament, when it comes to Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, we are seeing a divergence. We are seeing a clear divergence. And if you go ahead and look at the relationship between what the total vote right now is and the overall horse race one, that 49 to 44%, and you look at the polls where we see Kamala Harris doing well, more in these issues of integrity, character, things like that, Kamala Harris is doing well there. She's winning. The issues, Donald Trump's doing better, but he's losing. The issues matter less. Again, please read some political science that's based off of the American Voter, done by Campbell, Converse, Miller, and Stokes. Now, V.O. Key went ahead and created his own rebuttal to that before he died called The Responsible Electorate. And a lot of people don't think that really plays. V.O. Key said that issues matter. But if you talk to a lot of political scientists, more and more believe that voting for one party or another is more of an identification and passing on that identification to the ballot box than it is the spatial model of voting where you have a left and a right, and then you're here and you try to determine where you're supposed to go. That has been pretty much the Downsian theory. That's been pretty much kind of, I don't want to say debunked, but the American voter model is more. But anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about this NBC poll. We don't have any crosstabs, so we can't really delve into it, but the methodology looks right. These were live interviews. This is a good number for Kamala Harris. This is the best that she has done in this poll. This is the best that Democrats have done in this poll in a while. And it does show an an upward movement. And this was done on the 17th. So 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. That was 5 days ago. Okay. A lot has changed possibly in 5 days, because I truly believe that Oprah interview where she said that she would shoot an intruder going into her house, I think that can be a game changer. I really think that can be a game changer. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. As you can see, I am now back in my home. It's nice to have like a real desk, a real computer, a real microphone, and a real camera, and everything kind of like my own. It was nice to sleep in my own bed last night. I miss Paris a lot, but it's great to be back home. And I can also have my Diet Cherry Pepsi, something I can't get there. So I actually have another video coming out later today that talks about early voting numbers in Pennsylvania. So you want to watch out for that one. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead, click the subscribe button, click the little bell to get the notifications. And I will see you in that next video. Bye-bye.